up, everybody? It's your boy Denswell, Soccer Spirit's saltiest Thunder player. Just wanted to jump on and make a third crack at the Clover team guide. I've done it before, but wanted to make a more concise version. The last one I made was way too long, and since we got the 4th anniversary coming up, hopefully we get an infusion of new players. I want them to get off on the right foot, and just in case if you've been playing the game for a while and you haven't started a Clover team, then now's a good time to start, especially with what seems to be some upcoming changes with the game as well. So yeah, let me go over the changes real quick first, and then we're gonna go ahead and get into the change. First, let's jump into the possible changes that are coming up for Soccer Spirits, then we'll do the Clover thing. And hey, what's up, Pug? Hey, what's up, Pugme? Just doing a quick stream here for just to do my third version of the Clover guide, so don't mind me. So yeah, let's go ahead and go over what are the possible changes going on for anybody who may not be aware. If I'm understanding it properly, come the next major update, the challenge mode and hell mode for story are going to be removed. I believe they're going to be moving the achievements to something else, and they mentioned something about missions, so I'm assuming that's the story mode missions that you get when you first start the game. So that's going to be a bit of a hassle for us when it comes to farming spirit stones. It's going to be a bit of a hassle when it comes to farming gold as well. Outside of, let's say, minion matches, rivals, and so on and so forth. But still, if anything, it just means that our farming will be slightly more efficient, stamina-wise, when it comes to your Clover team once it's made. So yeah, with that aside, let's go ahead and, get to the main point of this, the Clover guide. So yeah, what are Clovers? Let's talk about that first. So let's just go to a random team of mine, or my Clover team, for example. We're going to go to look at Felix. So yeah, Clovers, you're going to see them on the left portion of your character's portrait. If you click on it, you're going to see a basic description of it, right? So obviously they let you get additional rewards. The more Clovers, the more, the higher rate of earning additional rewards become. These are separate from manager bonus drops. We'll cover that a little bit later. And the main boost to Clovers is your ace. And then from there, your other players will, give less value. The base rarity of the player determines the value or the percentage that they give to bonus drops. So obviously 6-star legendary players are going to give you much more of a boost than 2-star players. However, this is not boosted by special training. Okay, so if you take a 2-star and you make them, you make them a 7-star, that's not going to make your Clovers worth more than, let's say, for example, a 4-star player. So base rarity determines that. The maximum is 99. You can get there either by accumulating a bunch of copies of that player and feeding it into themselves, or using the clown fairy, or using skins. So that covers that. Let's go ahead and proceed to the next step. And that would be the percentages in question. So like I said, when the player is an ace, they provide more. You don't see it here. This was actually figured out by Korean players on the neighbor board. So 6 stars, for example, Felix, if he is the ace player, you get 25.45% to bonus drop. I'm referring, these numbers that I'm giving you refer to 99%. So it's 25.45% for a 6-star. 5-star players, for example, Newt here, is 21.21% if she or another 5-star player is the ace. 4-star players, for example, Rudy here, gives you 16.97% if she is the ace. Hey, what's up, Ventus? The 3-star players, for example, Moritz, will give you 12.73% if she is the ace. And last but not least, 2-star players. Let's see, let me find one. For example, Kynan here. If they are the ace, they will give you 8.49% if they are the ace. It's a pretty big difference. 8.49 for a 2-star, 25.45 if it is a 6-star player, a legend. Now, if the player is not the ace, right? For example, Dee Dee here, she's not the ace. You can tell that, you know, Felix is my ace for the team. If the player is not the ace, they give you a lower number. For example, yeah, so like I said, 8.49% for 2 stars, all the way to 25.45 for 6 stars. If the player is not the ace, they're just simply on the pitch, they're on your team. 2 stars is 2.83%, 3 stars are 4.24, 4 stars are 5.65, 5 stars are 7.07, and 6 stars are 8.48. I believe if you do the math, that comes out to a third of the value if they were the ace. So, very big difference. So, going from there, before we go on ahead and I show you, you know, just how it works, looking at my team here, mine isn't exactly, you know, perfect, but it gets the job done for what it needs to do. The total percentage for my team right here is actually 83.4%. You could ignore Edward, who is in the support slot, because he doesn't count when it comes to story mode. So yeah, where to start when it comes to building a Clover team? That's the next step we're going to talk about. You actually want to go to story mode, of course. Go to normal. You want to go all the way down to 1-2. Not 1-1, not 1-3, because we're not going to bully Tina, but 1-2. So 1-2 is in normal mode, is actually the best place to start off, especially if you're a new player. Because if you're a new player, you just got, you know, Sam or Noah, depending on who you picked when you started the game. And unless you picked up, you know, a bunch of another color, you're still better off starting here. And this is even more emphasized now because of a change that's coming with the 4th anniversary major patch. PvP currently gets a benefit if all your players are of the same element. You'll get what's called Ace Burst. Let me show you that too before I go from there. Sorry about that. So let's say, for example, let's go with Belle. So Belle's ace is 20% action speed, 20% reflex for Thunder players. If everybody on the team is Thunder, it actually goes up to 32% action speed, 32% reflex. So this boost, Ace Burst, is actually coming along to PvE. So that's going to be even better for people who are just starting out, you know, to get that extra bit of power when it comes to farming. And, you know, every little bit helps when you're first starting out. So it's actually not a half bad idea to go mono when it comes to PvE early. Eventually you're going to branch out to Rainbow when it comes to PvE, because I sincerely doubt that Ace Burst is going to take over in PvE content, with the exception of very few niches. And you have to be careful with that because, you know, some things, like for example Coliseum of Trials, have some limitations where if you end up having too much power because of Ace Burst, then you're gonna end up, you know, going overboard. An example of that would be let me go check real quick because I don't have them memorized. If you go to, for example, the Coliseum of Trials, you go to, I believe, the 3rd tier. For example, match 3-8, you can't use Whirlwind players here. But if, let's say, for example, you go with, let's say, Dark, and then you use a Dark Ace Burst, then you're going to end up, you know, deleting Raglet a little too fast before you do your 3 to 5 shots range. So, got to be careful with that. Anyway, like I said, early on, it's still good because it's fairly quick to get Ardor players, okay? And the reason being is because 1-1, 1-2, 1-3 is the only stage in all of the story modes, right, that doesn't feature Spirit Stones. You can see here the reward list for 1-5. You have a 3-star, you have 4 2-stars, and then you have a truckload of useless Spirit Stones. These suck. Okay, these aren't even good for core farming. But if you go back to, you know, chapter 1, you have 1-1, 1-2, 1-3. It's only 4 drops. You have Jenny, Naomi, Makane, Sean, and Ryu. That's it. So yeah, enough babbling there. Let's actually go ahead and show you, you know, the benefits of running Clovers. Of course, you want to pick people with Clovers as well from your team, because hey, you know, we all want more drops. If I'm not mistaken, the ace of your team, regardless of them being strangers or not, the Clovers still count. Let's go ahead and go over to my Clover team. This one doesn't matter, just leave her in the bag. We're gonna do 10, right? We're gonna do a total of 10 runs, just to showcase, you know, what I mean, or to show you, to show you the benefits of doing this stuff. it's faster that way. There's no point in auto. Take too long. I don't believe I'm using the right managers, but it doesn't really matter. Anyway, first match, no Clover, rip me. While I'm doing this, I actually wanted to mention one more thing. One thing you want to do, like I've seen other people do with their Clover teams, is that they'll actually put their strikers in mid-range, or should be in mid-lane, excuse me. Prime examples of this would be for, Vanchi. Vanchi is actually perfect for this because he has a red slot, so you can give him an ignition catalyst. And then, of course, he doesn't really have any need for, Spirit. Doesn't have much need for Spirit because he's a utility striker. So that's nice too. Got a Clover on the second run. You also want to shut off actives as well if you can get away with it, because especially if you're doing it on auto farm or whatever it is, if you're doing an auto farm, which is what you're probably going to do anyway, then you're going to want to skip actives because that's going to help you do stuff faster. For example, me doing it this way, instead of just running over the player and just shooting because these guys are weaklings, I'm doing it this way. If I had an auto, this is what's going to happen. It's going to take much longer to do. But I do it that way because, that's just me, man. That's how I've built my characters. I'm a bit of a collection guy, so want to be a beautiful, unique snowflake when it comes to this stuff. So there we got a Clover proc again, and then we also got a manager proc. That's not bad. We'll talk about managers a bit later as well. So let's run number 3. Like I said, we're going to do a total of 10 runs. And, just discuss a few things while we're doing this. So like I said, for things like gold match, you want to run, something that'll help you finish up as fast as possible while, still being able to kill off the GK. For stuff like this, like 1-2, which is for basic, emergency GP farming, or just to finish story mode real quick, or to finish your chains, then this is perfect and you can get away with just about anything. You won't even have to special train the players and anything like that. Got another Clover plug. But for things like, let's say for example, if you wanted to farm a specific rival for event scout points, or if you wanted to farm a certain boss because you like them, things like that, then you're going to want to, finish things faster. You're going to obviously use stronger players. But starting off here at 1-2, like I said before, this is a perfect starting point. And once I finish this set of 10 runs, this is run number 5, then, I'll show you what I mean, and you'll see what the main benefit of doing this stuff really is. We're also going to cover where to find the other players. The Clover proc and a manager proc, not bad. I'm going to cover where to find all the other players. Look at this guy. We got a base 3-star player, and this person took him all the way to level 70. This is definitely a husbando right here. Props. And this person also, wow, this guy loves his low tier heroes. That's what's up. I like this guy. Given the point of the game's life, you're definitely going to see more people who are going to have aces that are clovered. So that's definitely nice. That's going to help a lot too. Alright, this is run number 6. Another Clover and a manager. Hey, we're on point here. Yeah, that's nice. A 99 legend. It's definitely gonna help. That should be a 100%, I think, now that I think about it. Because I'm at about 84%, then another legend should be that, so this will probably be a good test. If I don't get a Clover proc here, then that'll confirm that the cap is actually 99 which means there's a chance of it not working, or rather because that person's not a friend, maybe the Clover thing doesn't count. But nope, I got a proc anyway. That was number 7, this is number 8. So like I said, I'm just basically simulating, if you will, 10 runs. I think it's better to show people as opposed to just say, hey look, do this, do that, and yada yada. It's always better to show, because then, you know, you'll have the evidence. You'll see this shit actually works like it's supposed to. Alright, another Clover proc, not bad. It's definitely nice having people with Clovers. It was number 8, this is run number 9. Then after this one more, and then we'll be good to go. Unlike last time, I actually cleared space, so I'm not gonna get interrupted. Got another Clover proc. And for the last run, alright, that's that. So that's 10 runs on 1-2 at normal difficulty, which is probably going to be even more so our main place to farm, and no Clover proc there. So that's 10 runs. So yeah, 80%. Literally, you know, around the range of what I have right now currently. So yeah, how to do the Clover thing, right? This is how you get started with your Clover team. So you do your runs, right? Let's say you ran out of inventory space, whatever. Grab a character, right? Every character that you pick up, whether it's by finishing a match, whether it's by drawing, by scouting, anything that allows you to, you know, acquire a player, it's always going to be like this. They're always going to give you between 1 and 3 Clovers. So Sean here obviously started off with 1. So that means at most it's going to take you 99 runs, excuse me, 98 runs to max out a player. Well, yeah, 99 because you got to get them first. So either anywhere between 33 and 99 runs, depending on, you know, what you get. Doesn't take that long. So when you see here, you're going to get that, you go to trading. This Sean right here has 3 Clovers. This one has 2. This one has 2 also. It's pretty simple. Just train them. Clover count goes up, superb count, etc. That's it. Nothing fancy. So, like I said earlier, the reason why you want to start Ardor, if you want to start your Clover team, is because Ardor is the easiest stage. Well, it's the first stage where you go, and there's a total of 4 players right there for you to farm. So it's easy to build a base. You know, you're going to have 4 players, Naomi, Akane, Sean, Ryu, and then of course you're going to have a 5th player with with Sam and Noah, depending on who you started off with. So you already got 5 players. You know, you're 4 players away from, you know, getting your Ace Burst. I believe it, we're actually going to find out once the update drops. We're going to find out if Ace Burst counts on ignoring the support pick. So that's going to be pretty interesting. That's actually one thing I want to know about, but regardless, we're going to cover all the points anyway. So, because even then, you know, even if you don't end up proccing Ace Burst because of your partner, because of the friend pick, you still have, you know, the Ace effect depending on the player that you pick. So it's still worthwhile. So anyway, talking about that, you know, who do you get, or rather, where do you get them to round out your pick? Then that would be, for example, Ardor. Like I said, 1-1, 1-2, 1-3. That's where Naomi, Akane, Sean, and Ryu is. You can also get Jenny, who's a 3-star, because, you know, there's not enough 2-stars to fill out a team. You can get Brett, Ryle, and Susie on stage 7-1 for 3 stars. Like I said before, 1-1, 1-2, 1-3 for Jenny, 3-1 for Tina and Lena, 5-1 for Stella and Sunny, 7-1 for Scott and Xiaolong, 9-1 for Helen and Mikkel, 11-1 for James and Jang. So that covers all of Ardor. If you end up wanting to build a different color because you don't like Ardor, that's perfectly fine too. Just remember that everything beyond 1, 1, 1, 2, and 3, drop Spirit Stones, so that's going to kind of get in your way. For Whirlwind, you have 1-7 for Dochi, CL, and Yumi, who are 2 stars. 7-9 for Rigoletta, who's the 4th and final 2-star for Whirlwind. And then you have, for 3 stars, you have 1-7 again for Sorrow, 3-7 for Reaper and Kai, 5-7 for Beast King and Momo, 7-7 for Xiaolang and White Snow, and then 9-7 for Moritz and Castor, and then 11-7 for Horan and Krovia. Please do be aware that the 3-star Saunir, she's actually, you can only get her by, oh yeah, 5-star, sweet. Always do your dailies. You always want to do your dailies, like I just mentioned here. Damn, lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh yeah, there we go, sorry. Saunir, who is a 3-star for Whirlwind, you can only get her via Scout or Draw, or rewards, I believe, too. So there's that, so do be aware of that for, chains and things like that. Next we have the Thunder players. For Thunder, we have 113 for Kainen, Marianne. For 7-4, we have Ravi and Paulina. And then from there, we have the 3 stars. 113 for Rami, 3-4 for Hermod, 5-4 for Ai and Trio, 7-4 for Alicia, Sophie, Ravi, and Paulina. Did I mix myself up? Oops. I kind of mentioned the 2 stars twice again there. My bad. 7-4 for Alicia and Sophie. You have 9-4 for Mute and Cyril, and then 11-4 for Black Mash. For Light, you have 2-4 for Ruin and Mika, 7-10 for Timmy and Amaranth. For the 3 stars, you have 2-4 for Valentine, 3-10 for Lena and Ravito, 5-10 for Muriel and Armati, 7-10 for Ortega and Bartel, 9-10 for Lulu and Fizz, what is this league? And then you have 11-10 for Upiel and Ralph. For Dark, you have 2-10 for Rosette. Let's see, who else was it? No, my bad. Yeah, for Rosette it was all, for 2 stars. 7-13 for Nebra and Melchior. And then for the 3 stars, you have 2-10 for Hines, 3-13 for Anise and Lily, 5-13 for Grace and Estella. Estella, aka the legendary 3-star Dark player, who could beat the crap out of William. 7-13 for the legendary Ogre, and then Mortor. 9-13 for Lindsay and Tarsilla, and then 11-13 for Skada and Marianne. For Dark, they also have the other draw only 3-star, that being Juvel. She can only be acquired by Scout or by Draw, and I believe also rewards. So yeah, those are the 2 stars and 3 stars if you want to start off for a player in the event that Ace Burst counts, regardless of the friend pick. And like I said, I would recommend starting Ardor because that's the fastest way to build one. But like I said, ultimately you're going to end up going to what our next topic is: building strong players, building high level players. When it comes to building strong players, you can check out a guide by WeDewGames, WeDewGames. He's made some pretty good guides. I believe Metacolm, Metacolm, is also making a couple of guides recently, since we got the 4th anniversary coming up, so definitely check him out as well. I believe he's also pointing out other players who stream content, so you can definitely get a good reference there. I'm going to leave a link in the description for that. When it comes to other players, right, we're going to talk about that right now. This concerns the use of fairies. So I'm going to pick up just a random player just to show off what I'm talking about. It's like I'm probably going to do it with this guy later, but I still haven't made up my mind. But what you can do is you can use these items, the Clown Fairy. The Clown Fairy, like I mentioned before, was the other thing that you can use to gain clovers. You use this, you get 2 clovers. This is not worth doing unless the player is a 5-star or a 6-star, okay? Only do it on 5 stars if they're like your waifuers or husbando, or if it is a character who is hard to acquire, repeatedly, who takes a very long time. Like for example, Edward, he's a superb boss, pretty sure that, for the remainder of, this game's life cycle, I'm not going to get him to anything Clover naturally, without clowns. So that's an example of that. So superbs, you can use clowns, definitely, if you're going to use that person, to be your ace. And then you have, let's say, you know, of course, your legends. If you're going to use your legends, like I said before, Vonchi's a perfect pick for that because he has a built-in red slot, and then you can give him Ignition Catalyst and he can go to town. And that's it. When it comes to rivals, right? I kind of went ham and I got all the rivals in the game to 99 Clover. I don't really suggest that unless you're you know, the kind of person who likes collecting players. Or if, like I said before, if you really like the character, then hey, go for it. But other than that, the only player that I would actually suggest to actually max out is Dee. Reason being is because she is useful both in PvE in a myriad of situations because of her preparation skill, and that also goes double duty in the event that you want to build a YOLO, you know, OHKO team. Then she is integral for that as well. So you know, you may as well at least get her to 30 TPU or you know, whatever you want. Either way, you just want her for the 60 for the, you know, for the preparation skill, which is the 60% bonus gauge. But like I said, she has applications in, you know, PvE and PvP. Again, PvP for preparation for YOLO teams. For PvE, same thing with that, but also she has a green slot built in, so you can give her a Wise Man's Trail. I believe that's what it's called. We do have a spare one. No, I don't. But I know a player who does have one. Because I just missed the name. There he is. You have a Wise Man's Trail. She has a green slot, so you can give her that too, so she can provide extra crit rate for your striker, etc., etc. So there's that. A prime example of an ace to pick if it's a legend, I would definitely suggest Felix, because he does power up everybody's skills for individual skills, or rather, in other words, selfish skills. And if you look at pretty much every low rank player, you know, almost every 2 and 3 star in the game, and a lot of 4 stars are selfish. So, for example, we could look at Paulina here. You know, dribble, that's a selfish skill. Max HP, action speed. All 3 of them are just single selfish skills. You know, there are some low rank players that do provide totems. An example is Snow White. She is one of the few 3 stars that provides a line totem. And then the same thing applies to only two stars in the game. There's only two stars in the game that actually provide a line totem. So, you know, Felix won't help that. That's more for Jiho, but again, most of them are, you know, if you're going to build a Clover team, you're probably going to start with low rank players. So Felix is going to be a bigger help there than Jiho is, but like I said, it's really up to you. Let me see, where'd he go? Where'd Nebra go? Oh, I got him running somewhere. There he is. He is one of two-star players that has an actual totem. He's one of them. And then the other one is a Thunder player. And that would happen to be... Nope, it's not her. I always mistake them because of their clothing for some reason, but here she is. It's Ravi. Ravi's the other one. Both of them are leaders. Both of them have the same benefits in mid lane. So, yeah. I'm going to also show you an example of a farming team for, let's say, gold match. I actually have it saved in Coliseum of Trials. Perfect place to save bonus formations, so I would definitely recommend you take advantage of that too. Doesn't matter what pick here. Go back to slot 1. Check the deck. This is the team that I use for quickly farming, let's say, gold match, for example. I'm going to show it and explain it too while I'm at it. Makes more sense that way. So I'll explain it real quick just so it can make sense. Like I said, other players, what they like to do is they'll put Ignition Catalyst on, you know, their striker, like again, Vonchi. Or they'll use a high-speed striker like Lucid. That's another prime example. But what I do is, because I don't really do it that way, mine takes a little bit longer. It's not as time efficient, but I'm perfectly fine. I'm willing to sacrifice that. If you're, you know, hardcore about time efficiency, then you want to build a Lucid, get a speed ace, etc., or you want to have a Vonchi if you happen to have him. So what my team strategy is pretty simple. You know, Van right here is my striker. So obviously I have Veronica, who has a global crit damage buff that also helps Edward here, who's basically the main point of this team. as far as getting things done quickly, because he's pretty fast, he has high reflex, he's a very strong stealer. So he goes in, he steps in, he steals, he brings the ball up front, he passes, and then Hyun, who has a ignition catalyst, also has 99 clovers, she actives, she gives it to Van ends the game. So not everybody in this team is actually clovered up, so my percentage suffers a little bit, but you know, that can be fixed over time with clowns or other players. Nude, for example, Elizabeth, Didi, and Hyun are all built up, so that does provide me some, you know, that does provide me some clovers. So, you know, I can do it that way. If I decide to, I may decide to clover Edward over here for the attack power max HP. Then I can run a dark player, let's say Geigerfeld, etc. But we'll see how that goes. But as it is right now, this is what I'll do. I may do it with Geigerfeld, or I may just say, you know, to heck with it and go with MP Dab over here, who has a crit rate and crit damage ace for both Thunder and Ardor. Since I already have a lot of Ardor players built up, I can do that as well, so I'll go that route instead. So the whole thing with this team is, like I said, Edward is super fast, so he ends up going first. If for any reason Dab goes first, then the game is probably over anyway, because Didi provides extra spirit. He goes ahead and long shoots, match is over. And if not, then Hyun gets the ball. Hyun passes over to Van. He gets a proc of accelerate time, match is over. So either way, the match ends fairly quickly. You have Elizabeth here, who has maximum clovers, but she also has a Wise Man's Trail to provide crit rate for Van and Dane to ensure a kill. You have Veronica for her global crit damage, which helps Van, Dane, and Edward. You have a global from Yeon, who is down here. Again, Veronica over here, who has a crit rate. Global crit rate, there it is. Global crit damage, excuse me. Also attack power. You have Celis, who is a fantastic PvE unit because of the, you know, built-in crit rate. Then he has Stance of Pride, aka Smirk, which even though it does give the opponent some attack power, they do take 20% more damage, and he also lowers your defense a whopping 50%. It's nothing less to scoff at. So there you go. So those are the second example of mine of a team that you can use for farming. You know, there's various different strategies that you can do. It really just depends on whether you're looking for maxed out time efficiency, or, you know, depending on your point in the game, where you just want to get some clovers going. Alright, so it does help out. Like, if we look at the calculator over here, let's go ahead and, you know, do some numbers, right? You're gonna end up having, you know, let's say a 2-star. Alright, you got a 2-star ace. That one's gonna give you 8.49%. And let's say your other 9 players are also 2-stars. So that's gonna start you off with not much, actually. 2.83 times 9 plus 8.49. You're gonna start off with a 33.96 bonus chance. So it's not much. It's only a 33% chance, but it's still better than nothing. So you start small, and then you work your way up. Like I said, it's worth it to do that with your legend. You're gonna get a legend at level 30. You know, if you get Felix, you get Jiho, it's definitely worth doing. Anybody else, if you like the character, then I say go for it, max them out. You're gonna be building your teams around your legends eventually anyway, so that's a good point to start. So it's especially great if you end up starting up with a striker. But if you get anybody else, you can do that too. Just hopefully you don't get Jin, because Jin is not in a good position right now. Again, what else is doing? VP, please. So yeah, that pretty much covers everything as far as this guide. I believe this guide ran a little bit longer than originally expected, but I guess that's just the way I am. I'm just gonna go ahead and make everything long-winded. I guess that's just the way it is. But either way, I'm gonna have some links in the description, both for the subreddit for Soccer Spirits, to Metacolm's channel, and also for WeDewGames channel, because they both have some pretty good information there for you. That's going to cover a lot more aspects than this. Clovers aren't really that big of a deal, but I like doing it for farming purposes to get GP faster. It is a huge help when it comes to farming minions, and when it comes to gold match, it's not as good for gold match, because ultimately you want to do more matches and get more gold. But you know, you can always sell the swirlies that you get, so that's not bad either. And even then, hey, you know, you get a Clover proc, you get a Manager proc, then, and you end up getting a nice, you know, 5-star swirly, that's even better. So there's one more thing I actually wanted to cover, actually, that I forgot, and that's another reason why this thing went long-winded, so, oops. That is the managers. If you choose to spend in the game, you know, if you do, hey, good on you, but you don't have to. Then Korean Selena is a manager that you want to pick up. She gives you more gold when you finish a match, when you win a match, excuse me. And then she also has a chance of dropping an additional player / spirit stone. So that's great for GP farming, for minions, etc. This, as well as Clover procs, this counts for story matches. This counts for farmable space-time continuum matches. This does not count for matches that have a set amount. For example, Crystal Penguin matches, Crystal Swirly matches. This doesn't count for the daily gold match. You're not going to get extra, you know, Amaranths. This doesn't count for, you know, the Spirit Stone match. You're only going to get 3 Spirit Stones daily from each one. That's all there is to it. But everything else, farmable matches, you know, this and Clover's count. Otherwise, then you want to definitely get Periel. Periel is free. You know, you don't have to buy, you don't have to pay for her. You can pick her up by either doing dispatch missions, or you can scout her. So she's definitely worth it. She gives you a chance of getting an additional Spirit Stone or player when you finish a match. If you're more interested in gold, no, excuse me, continuing from there, you want to definitely scout these players as well, or get them from manager dispatches. These are important. You want to pick up Anastella, who lowers her stamina consumption by 10% when maxed out. She's a natural 4-star, so you don't have to use big lead trays. You can just use, you know, 3-star lead trays. You have Hassel, who lowers consumption by 20%. This is important because, you know, stamina, you know, you can refresh it from either, you know, stamina rewards or from, you know, using crystal refresh. And I don't really recommend doing that early on because, you know, refreshes are limited, and that's going to be a big deal, especially if you are a free-to-play player. Next we have Sigmund. Sigmund copies the main sponsor for his active, but what you really are interested in is his passive. He gives you 20% max stamina when he's maxed out, and that's great because that right there means that if you go to bed, you drain your stamina, you come back, you get 80 stamina instead of 60 when you get your maximum stamina, and that also means that you're getting that much more stamina when you do a crystal refresh. So that's fantastic. And then last but certainly not least, you have Ingram. Ingram also decreases your stamina consumption, and he is another copycat when it comes to actives, but we don't care about that. It's the reduction that's most important. I believe we have another manager coming up soon that is going to be giving us stamina reduction, although I do not remember that person's element. I believe the player's already been added into the book. It's pretty sure it's not a Thunder player now. Let's go check. Let's go find it real quick since we're already here doing all this stuff. We've already gone over, I already went ahead and screwed up and went over the amount that I wanted to do, so rip me on that. I don't think that player's got released yet, maybe I'm wrong. Or is it the next patch is dropping? It might be the next patch is dropping, but do keep an eye on that. Nope, there she is. So Sujing is next. She is a trainer. Okay, no, never mind. She's actually for acquired EXP. Never mind. She's the one that's coming up next. So, whoops. She's a trainer, so that's not important right now. If you want gold, the managers you want is definitely Charlotte. And you also want... Nope, this is for selling, excuse me. And then you also want Lohengrin. She also gives you more gold. She's also a 3-star, very, very easy to get. And if you choose to spend money on the game, then it goes without saying that Halloween Eve is definitely a must-have. 40% gold. It's a big deal. So yeah, that pretty much covers everything. Gone ahead and covered everything concerning how to build a Clover team. You saw, you know, the benefits of building a Clover team, how it basically increased how many characters they dropped. you know, helped me build a team faster if I wanted to do it that way. Like I said, it starts off at a pretty low percentage at 33% with a bunch of 2 stars, but eventually you'll get, you know, a pretty big amount once you build a legend using clowns, or, you know, you just accumulate some characters. So yeah, always farm. Farming is good. You just saw me get a 5-star for doing this. So always do your dailies, always do your farming. Links will be in the description. Thanks for dropping by.